What's up, guys? It's your man KP67's coming back to you finally. It's been a few weeks, I know, but trust me, I'm going to be a lot better with posting up videos. It's just been really hectic the last couple of weeks. I have a wedding I'm supposed to go to. I have board exams I'm supposed to go to. I have to plan a wedding. There's like 100,000 things I'm doing right now, so videos had to kind of take a little bit of an aside, but for now, I'm back. And that's what matters because we're going to be covering the last few Imperial Academy videos. I know, I'm sad too. Like, we're almost through the Imperial Academy, so that's it, you know? We've only got a couple more. So without further ado, we're going to get into it now with our boy, the Mandalorian here, Gar Saxon. So Gar Saxon is an Empire tank in this case, and as you can see from his stats, he has pretty good strength here. So then when you go down to his health and protection, I loaded him up with protection. As you can see, he's got like no speed right now. He's a very niche character for me right now. I only really use him for the heroic tank, and that's why his speed is just like nothing, because he really doesn't need speed for me. His potency's up there-ish, 44%. His physical damage, as you can see, is through the roof. It's almost like 1,000 higher than it should be, as well as his physical critical chance is also pretty high too. The reason being, I'll get into in a little bit. Armor pen, pretty decent, 97, it's not bad. As you can see here, his armor is 42%. He is tanky. He will take hits, but the funny thing is that he will not take hits without his gear 12 gears. The Armatech pieces add a lot of defensive ability to him, and special damage, survivability, neither here nor there. So where can you find our dear Mr. Saxon? Gar Saxon is available in the Cantina nodes. Specifically, I think he's fourth highest, or fifth highest. It's E. Oh my god. Battle 8E. It's a 16 energy Cantina node, so it's an expensive node, and it does take a bit of time to get him. But when you do get him, you'll be kind of like, oh, okay, cool. Now what? Also, with respect to Gar Saxon, his gear is actually not bad for a tank. He needs a lot of different high gear pieces, but not a lot of one. Like, he needs like 3 Carbantes, he needs 3 cuffs, he needs 2 of the Mark IV Cheedat comlinks. Like, it's just little bits and pieces like that, which, on the surface isn't so bad, but obviously it's like 3 Carbantes and 3 cuffs. Like, anything with 3 cuffs is like, ugh, that's a farm. But like, overall, he's not the worst Empire character to gear up. So with that covered, we're going to go into his abilities here. His basic here is On the Hunt. It deals physical damage to the target enemy with a 70% chance to inflict speed down for 2 turns. If the target already had speed down, you reduce Gar Saxon's cooldowns by 1. It's a pretty straightforward bread and butter move. You shoot someone, you inflict speed down. If you don't, oops. If they already had speed down and you hit them, you reduce the cooldown of his special move. And his special move here is Calculated Ambush. So here, you're dealing physical damage to all enemies and dealing double damage to enemies with less than 50% turn meter. Enemies with at least 50% turn meter lose 30% turn meter. So this thing has 2 abilities that it uses here. If you're more than 50% turn meter, you're getting reduced. If you're already less than 50% turn meter, he deals double damage, and his AoE hits like a truck. With crits and stuff, with crits and such on it, he can do 15k on his AoE. Comparatively, his basic hits for like next to nothing. Even with all the offense and the crit chance modded up the way that I have, when he does crit, he crits for maybe 7k, I think, on his basic, but his AoE is a beast AoE. And as you can see, it has a cooldown of 5, so anytime you can shoot someone, who had a speed down, it's just going to make your life a lot easier. His next is his leader, which actually I, of course, Zated. Mandalorian Retaliation. Empire allies gain 50% counter chance and 40% defense. That part alone is pretty cool. He basically gives the Empire the ability to create a counter team with some pretty hefty defense. 40% defense is no joke, guys. They can take a lot of hits. I have my TIE fighter pilot soaking up quite a few hits with an extra 40% defense. So it's definitely pretty useful. And the next part, whenever an Empire ally uses a basic attack, they recover 5% health. That part there is the Zeta. So when Gar Saxon was released during the height of the Zal meta with Sith Assassin, Sith Trooper, characters which go through protection to hit you by health, Gar Saxon kind of mitigates that by the fact that his Zeta will help you recover lost health. So, you know, it kind of staved off the damage that Sith Assassin and Sith Trooper could do to you. And then finally, we have his unique Viceroy's Vengeance. So this is a fun one too. Whenever another ally attacks during an enemy turn, Gar Saxon has a 100% chance to assist. What does this mean? So whenever another ally attacks during an enemy turn, i.e., they're countering, Gar Saxon will assist them 100% of the time. Now, if you have one person attacking, or countering, I'm sorry, Gar Saxon will assist once. If you have 4 people countering, Gar Saxon will assist 4 times. So you can see how you can kind of ramp up his damage. Yeah, his basic hits for 7k, but if you've got good RNG and everybody counters at once, then you have that 7k times 5 hits, assuming you got 7k each hit. That's 35k damage he can do on his basic. And to me, that explains why they didn't make his basic hit like a truck or something. I mean, yeah, he's a tank on top of it, but, you know, when you can do 30k, 35k on a basic because everybody countered, that's pretty powerful. That's pretty powerful stuff. Yeah, guys, I mean, like, it just makes Gar Saxon very useful with respect to countering. However, you know, again, like, his lead doesn't carry very much damage. It's hard to say. I'll give a final thought at the end. So anyway, we've gone through his abilities, and now we're going to go over his mods. And as you can see here, I have a 4 offense, 2 critical chance set on him, where I just pumped him full of offense. I've got offense on the arrow, I've got critical chance on the triangle, I've got offense on the cross, and then the usual protection, defense, offense on the left side. Gar Saxon, he's kind of tricky to mod because he's a very niche character, honestly. Outside of the heroic tank and the ships, I don't use Gar Saxon very much. I think that if you were just wanting to use him in the tank raid, any raid actually, you know, maximizing his damage is probably your best bet. You're going to want to go for things like, you know, secondaries that have extra protection and extra offense and extra critical chance. Like, for instance, here I have a plus 100 offense on him with a 1.82 critical chance. Like I said, extra protection will help him and extra defense will help him because he's a tank. You want him to take those hits. That's about it, guys. I mean, like, I guess you could theoretically go for speed as well, but honestly, I just feel like the loss of damage that Gar Saxon can get it's pretty severe. Like, you know, you go from 7k times 5 to, like, say 3k times 5, which is like 21,000 compared to 35,000. That's a lot of damage you're losing because you wanted to make him faster. And like I said, like, his viability is kind of, you know, and that's where I'm going to get into uses. So with respect to his uses, Gar Saxon, surprisingly, is really good against Zal teams. I have used him in Territory Wars to effectively, with a group of, like, kind of like ragtag Team of Empire, to actually beat Maul, like not just a Maul, like a Zal and a Savage, like Zated, Maul, and Savage, and Gar Saxon and the Imperial Super Commando, 2 other Empire, a 5th. They can beat those types of teams. I was very surprised. I'm like, oh, Daze like shuts them down, but surprisingly they do quite well. Outside of that one team, I use him in ships. There's another thought there. He does have the Gauntlet Starfighter, which is a pretty powerful ship. I'll probably build another video for the Gauntlet Starfighter separately, but suffice to say, it's his unique, which is pretty useful. He gives himself a ton of extra speed. He gains 20 speed off the bat, then an additional 5 speed for every other Empire ally, and then he tanks up all your Empire allies, gives them 40% defense, whereas everybody else gets 20% defense. It helps make your team very tanky, and they can take a lot of hits, including squishy fighters like Vader's ship. But I digress. Going back to Gar Saxon, like I said, I use him in the heroic tank raid in the Phase 1 counter squad, the GK Sync, as it's affectionately called. Outside of that, outside of ships, and there's something missing. I think he kind of needs a rework, to be honest. He's very tanky at gear 12 max here. Having all the pieces, he can take hits. The problem is that he can't dish it out, and, you know, his lead just doesn't bring much to the table. I mean, you know, Commander Luke Skywalker has a similar lead, but it's substantially better because he gives him extra offense, he brings extra speed with a Zeta. There's all sorts of little pieces that kind of make, like Gar Saxon's lead is actually quite garbage in comparison. But wherever there is a counter squad needed, and if you're running an Empire team, he can do very well. I do know that in the Sith raid, different Empire players, I know one Empire player, Varangian Vigilante, has actually demonstrated on T6 of the Sith raid doing, I think, close to 3 million using a Gar Saxon counter squad, which is absolutely stellar, absolutely amazing. You know, so Gar Saxon has his uses. It's just, to me, it's a very niche use. And in the order of priority, I wouldn't really give Gar Saxon a very high priority right now. If you love Gar Saxon, if you love the Empire, I know you're going to get him. But for anybody else who doesn't want Gar Saxon that badly, you know, you don't have to really stress too hard about farming him. So yeah, that's my kind of 2 cents about Gar Saxon overall. Overall, he's okay, very niche, like I said, but, you know, if you like him or if you have a use for him, he will find a use. Okay, guys, that finishes off Gar Saxon. There's only a handful of videos left to go, so I thought I'd just throw in here before closing out. If you guys have any suggestions for a new faction to cover with these character reviews, please, go ahead, leave a comment in the comment section. I do read my comments. I do respond to my comments. And yeah, that's about it, guys. I'm glad I'm back. I'm glad I'm back, and more videos are going to be coming your way, albeit, with a little bit more frequency, not 2 weeks in between. But I really appreciate you guys. If you guys like the video, leave a like, subscribe for more, and I will catch you guys later. Have a good night, guys.